ever been in a situation where you're just strolling around doing your job or just going camping with your friends? At some point you just ask, how the hell did I get here? Honestly, we should all know what Fire Emblem is. I mean, there's 8 of them in Smash. But if I have to explain it to the 2 people who don't play Smash, Fire Emblem is the turn-based strategy series that came out before the first Pokemon game. No one wanted to see some losers fighting with swords and axes. Instead, people rather be playing a game where cute animals beat each other into submission. Fire Emblem wouldn't come into the West until Lucina Roy appeared in Melee. The Japanese didn't want to share their war plans with the stupid Americans, but the West were interested and only those who volunteered to play their games will transform into a sophisticated pillow-humping narcissist. There's like 13 games of evil people trying to take over the world and up to kids to have either been sped through their whole life or have seen the worst. Also, the women are either lewd or too young and they shouldn't be on the battlefield. But today, we're going to talk about Fire Emblem Three Houses. Holy shit! If you didn't play this game when it first came out, you really missed out on something special. People were talking about what houses they chose and the unique experience they had. When I used to actually have friends, we would talk about which of our classes were the best and how hot our students were. Going back to the game now, I managed to put over 100 hours into it and played all 4 routes, DLC included. Although I really loved this game, looking back on it, I said, I don't ever want to come back to this garbage again. Don't get me wrong, the game is 100% worth a play, but the problem with the game cannot be overlooked. But wait, people already talked about this game to death. What more can you add? First, shut the fuck up. I bet you already watched 10 videos on why you fell out of love with the MCU. Second, I'ma lay out my own take on the game because I just want to talk about it, since there's no one in my life who wastes time playing video games and eating hot Cheetos all day. Don't worry, I touch enough grass. The game starts off with the cutscene of a great battle. This hot/crazy woman is Rhea. I'll get more into her later. This big irrelevant man is named Nemesis. No, not that Nemesis. He's not relevant. After Rhea stabs and kills the living shit out of Nemesis,
you'll die! Die! You took everything that I loved!
we are introduced to this green-haired lolly named Sothis. Now we get to choose our 2 genders, Zachary and pop stars, or that teacher you wish he turned you into a man. From now on, I'm going to call Baylith, and yes, I'm going to switch between saying Baylith and Bylith. I'm going to say her from now on, because female avatars are better at sex appeals, better units, and I get to hook up with the hot men. Baylith and her father, Gerald, are mercenaries and saw 3 students being attacked by bandits. You decide to help out and learn how to play the game. One of the students was just about to get axed, but you decide to throw away your life for someone you just met. Time stop, the green-haired lolly that lives inside your head calls herself Sothis, and now you have the power called Divine Pulse, a great mechanic and a forgotten plot device. We'll get into that later. You and Gerald have been invited to the monastery. It's basically like Hogwarts for upcoming knights and leaders. You've been introduced to Rhea and the other staff, and now they want to hire you as an underqualified teacher. Now we enter the main selling point to this game. You get to choose one of the 3 houses. Depending on what house you choose, you get a different story branch and exclusive unit for that route. I only really use the students, so I'm going to talk about them, and not this fucking failure. The Black Eagle hail from the Adrestian Empire. In this route, you follow an evil queen who wants to take over Fotland and rid the world of the nobility. Edelgard, the Adrestian princess who everyone either loves or hates. For me, I love to hate her. Her character is really interesting and her role in this story is really powerful, but she does come off as unjustifiably evil at times. Hubert is basically an edgelord. He's Edelgard's right-hand man and he will do anything for her because that's what Sims do. Ferdinand von Aegir. You will not forget the name. He's like a privileged snob, but he's a gentleman with a good heart. Lenhart is a guy. He's lazy and he likes to sleep all the time. Caspar is an annoying shonen protagonist who can't prove his worth. Bernadetta is the reason why you don't shelter your kids and psychologically abuse them. Dorothea is a songstress whose singing I find really annoying.
I am Blue Thunder.
She's also really hot and beautiful. Petra is a kidnapped princess who develops Stockholm Syndrome and is willing to die for a country she does not hail from. This house holds the best girls. For the Blue Lions, they hail from the Holy Kingdom of Fargus. In this route, you follow a mentally ill king who has to overcome his past and redeem himself. Dimitri is a prince of Fargus who suffers from PTSD and is a bloodthirsty monster. He's a well-written character and is my favorite Fire Emblem character. Easily the best boy. The dude is a gentle giant and Dimitri's most loyal retainer. Felix is an asshole with a kind heart, also known as a tsundere. And no, this trait is not attractive in real life, so stop it, girls. Ash is a cinnamon bun who aspires to be a knight. Sylvain is a player who would throw away his country and loyalty to smack some ass. I'm not even kidding. Mercedes is an angel who's sent from heaven. No, not the accurate kind. Annette is the nerdy girl who will eventually make your heart pounce when she grows up. Ingrid is a justified racist. Trust me, she's a great character. This house holds the best boys. The Golden Deer, they hail from the Leicester Alliance. Screw the storyline. Because this is the meme team! Claude is perfect. Lorenz gets no bitches. Raphael is a one-dimensional idiot. Ignace is that kid who won't stop talking about his hobbies. Leonie is into DILFs. She's most likely wants to have sex with your dad. Hilda, how are you so strong yet so lazy? Marianne is the reason why you're depressed. Lysithea, best fucking girl. Sad backstory, she has that. A goddamn nuke? I use her on all my playthroughs. She's afraid of ghosts? Bitch, I am too! I watch Paranormal Activities. This house is really something. The beginning of the game is same for all the routes, with the dialogue and character changes of course, but I'm not going to the nooks and crannies. Before we begin, I am not going over every chapter in this game. I'm only going to talk about the stuff that actually matters. You enter part 1, White Clouds. It's the introduction to get into the game. You have mock battles, learn about the history of the world, and get to know the staff and your students, especially the lords, and eventually send them out on death missions where they can die. Nothing like experience on the battlefield. You can explore the monastery, do activities, chores, eating, singing, sauna, and most basic of all, fishing. The monastery is a memorable place, but you will soon hate it for its long ass load-in time, areas that have no interactive purpose to them, and god awful textures. You can instruct your students to become more proficient with a weapon or skill of your choice, eventually upgrading them to the desired class. Customization in this game is really fun. Everyone has some boons and banes, but you can just say fuck it, mage only run, here I go. The problem with lectures is that it gets really repetitive and boring. That's why they give you an auto instruct. You know, they knew it was fucking boring. Once you get to weapon rank A, you just don't give a shit anymore. Screw food, screw activities, just farm for stat boosters in the garden, you'll be fine. Plant purple, yellow, and pale flower seeds for strength, magic, and speed boosters. This is why you should always eat what you grow. You kill bandits and mysterious thieves, which help you and your student grow closer. Growing your support with Edelgar is very vital in the Black Eagle route. I'll explain why later. In chapter 4, you fight against terrorists who's against the Church of Cerberus' belief. They raid the Holy Mausoleum hoping to steal an ancient artifact. You kill them all while leaving the Death Knight alone because if you don't, he will end your ass. You end the chapter by killing someone with a sword that is literally made out of someone's spine. Rhea is like, yeah, the sword likes you. You can keep it. Girl. Shit happens and now we're on chapter 6. A girl named Flame, said its daughter, gets kidnapped and now you're going to go rescue her. For some goddamn reason they get rid of the lords in this chapter. Edelgard makes sense though. Please bear with me. You beat the level and you are introduced to the Flame Emperor. I mean, they introduced this character earlier, but I couldn't find the effort to care enough. They dip and you save Flame and the girl named Monica. Monica went missing for like 2 years and now she's readmitted at the school again and joined the Black Eagle. The weird thing is that she's not playable and she's too cheery despite being missing for a while. Pretty sus if you ask me. The entire school has a field trip at Gronder Field and all 3 houses have to beat each other down. The shitty thing about this map is that you don't get any cool terrain advantage. After that shit, you're on your next mission. A village is burning down and the villagers are going crazy. Everyone says we gotta help them, and then Demetrius says this.
Kill them all. Don't let a single one of them escape. Sever their limbs and crush their wicked skulls!
He was just in one of those moods. The librarian turns into Megamind and you complete the mission. Now that's all over. Do you know what time it is? It's prom time, bitch! After getting wasted and talking to the little girl inside your head, you eavesdrop on your grandma, Rhea singing. Is this important? No. But it's great final boss music and I will play it later. There's an emergency and monsters are attacking the monastery. You save the students and defeat the monsters. Suddenly, Monica is there to turn Gerald into an official anime dad. But Bailiff did something pretty damn smart. She turns back time to save him, but Talus comes out of nowhere and stops you. I had 8 pulses left, but whatever. For the first and only time, Byleth expressed some real emotion. You go into your father's room and find his journal. You read that you are obviously not normal. You died at birth and Rhea gave you your mother's heart, which is why you have the Crest of Flames. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about what crests are. So basically, crests are superpowers passed down by the 10 elites and you must be in their bloodline. If you do not have a crest, you're worthless. But if you do have a crest, everyone thinks you're a privileged snob and everyone hates you. So yeah, the crest system sucks. Now you have to spend the rest of the month sad. Kinda sucks seeing Bailiff like this. Now, you want revenge. You find Monica in the Seal Forest and her name is not Monica. She reveals that her name is Kronya, a clown that every street guy is sexually attracted to. You defeat her and she Dark Souls roll away from you. Megamind rips out Kronya's heart and seals you away in darkness. Which is actually big brain on his part. As your students keep arguing with the villain and not actually fight him, you speak to Silthus on how the both of you can get out of this mess. The only way is if Silthus becomes one with you so she can give you her full power. The catch is, she will disappear from your mind. That will mean you will become Joker, but without Morgana. Which is funny since they're both voiced by Cassandra Lee Morris. You and Silthus fuse and now have the power of the progenitor guy. You cut your ways out of the darkness and instead of joining Smash, you and your student jump Megamind. After you pass out and wake up on your grandma's rare thick-ass lap, she sings you a lullaby and tells you how great you are. Now that you became a green hair freak like the others, Rhea wants to take you to the Holy Tomb by the end of the month. Now you just piss around and do whatever you want. Hey Edelgard, what's up? What the fuck is this? Remember I said that it's very important for you to level up Edelgard's support in the Black Eagle route? This will change the game dramatically. If you follow her to the Adrestian capital, she introduced you to her dying father. Edelgard ascended the throne so she can be the next emperor to change the world. And you're just standing there asking yourself, what does this have to do with me? You both head back to the monastery and enter the Holy Tomb with Rhea, and she wants you to sit on Silthus' throne so she can awaken, but nothing happens. After this is where the 3 houses starts to begin their unique roots. Before we get to that, I want to talk about Cindered Shadows. It's DLC and it's pretty decent. I don't really remember much and truthfully I don't give enough shit. It takes place before the Holy Tomb or whatever, so I'm only going to talk about the things I find relevant. You and some of the other students notice some weird stuff going on and find a passage that leads underneath the monastery. You find 4 students that call themselves the Ashen Wolves, but I like to call them college dropouts. Yuri is cool-headed and fabulous. Balthus is hard-headed but pretty chill. Constance is the embodiment of JRPG players. Look this character up and you'll see what I mean. Happy? A pretty nonchalant girl. Shit happens and you meet the obvious villain named Alfric. His goal is to bring Citri back to life. Who's this goddess? She's Byleth's mother. She wasn't very strong and always sick. When Byleth was a stillborn, she asked Rhea to give her her Crest of Flame so her child can live, but at the cost of her life. Alfric simps for her very, very hard. But Gerald came in and stole her heart. Let's go, dude! So a lot of shit happens and I really don't feel like explaining it. This guy is so obsessed, he fuses with your mother's corpse and turns into an umbral beast. Now you and the others have to defeat this guy. You kill him, boom, happy ending. Goodbye Ashen Wolves. I'll bring you back to fight my war. The DLC is alright. It's nice to have more classes, expand on the monastery and lore about the world. It was nice that you can use all 3 lores, which is something you can never do in the main game. The Ashen Wolves are really likable, especially Yuri. At the same time, it was also lackluster. You can't really customize your unit and they reuse maps from the main game. The recycled maps is what pisses me off about the game so much. It sucks that it's also in the DLC. Something I paid for. Also, fuck Chapter 3. That's all I gotta say about Cindered Shadow. Now back to the main game. We're going to start with my least favorite route, Silver Snow. I will share on you later. The Flame Emperor invaded the Holy Tomb to steal the Crest Stone and screw over Rhea. You retrieve the Crest Stone and defeat the Flame Emperor with an underwhelming reveal. It's Edelgard! She waged war against Rhea and retreated. Now you and the others have to defend the monastery. The Empire is attacking at full force. Rhea decides to fight and turns into the Immaculate One. Rhea is quickly overwhelmed and Talus shoots a shadow ball at you and sends you down a cliff into an unwarranted 5-year time skip. After you wake up? Okay, that's just so damn stupid. Yes, I know one of the most anticipated things about this game is the time skip, but it just makes no goddamn sense. You expect me to believe that I've been in a coma for 5 years in the middle of nowhere or floating in the river? It could have made sense if they shown the Ashen Wolf found Baelith and took care of her while she was sleeping. That could have made them relevant. Whatever, man. You head back to what's left of the monastery and found Claude waiting there for some reason. I think it has something to do with some cringy promises you made with your students.
You overslept, Teach. Pretty rude to keep a fella waiting like that, wouldn't you say? What's with that surprised look, my friend? You didn't really think I'd given up on you coming back, did you? Can you feel it? A new dawn is finally here. Not just for us, though. No. For all of Fodlan.
Claude fills you in what's been happening. Edelgard is pretty much dominating this war, Dimitri gone crazy, and Claude doesn't really have anything to do with this war. Yeah, I mean the Leicester Alliance will be taken over by the Dresdian Empire, but in this route, Claude is more focused on finding the truth of this world than the actual war. So a majority of the content in this route doesn't matter! You take the monastery back from bandits and your old students come back to help, and I would be lying if I said I didn't crack a smile when they showed up. You complete chapters I don't care about bringing up and eventually go back to Gronder's Sphere where the 3-way battle happened. And guess what? You get to have another one! But with even better music this time, and units can permanently die. So you better keep your healers with fortified safe. You defeat both armies and something very stupid happens. Hilda comes up to you and Claude and informs you that Dimitri was killed off screen. So much for Fire Emblem 3 houses. Now it's time for you to go kill Edelgard. Now we got the pointless shit out the way, let's get into the meat of this route. You save Rhea from Edelgard's imprisonment. She tells you that those clowns are behind everything. You find the ancient city of Shambhala, which is those who slither in the dark base, and you gotta destroy it. You went from low fantasy medieval to sci-fi. Giant robots, LED lights, and dubstep. What the fuck is this game? You defeat Talus, he becomes a sore loser and decides to nuke the place. Rhea stops the nuke but gets injured in the process. Shambhala crumbles and crushes Talus. For no real reason, Nemesis wakes up from his casket. You and Claude speaks to Rhea and asks what happened in the past. Get ready because this is going to be a lot. Sothis was the original goddess, and she created the Nabateans. They lived with the Agarthans, but they became stronger and smarter. They want to wipe out the Nabateans, but Sothis bodied their ass. She fell into a slumber and the Nabateans created Xanadu for a place Sothis can sleep in, and the Nabateans can live. The survivor Agarthans wanted revenge. They became those who slither in the dark. The one who came up with the name must have a big brain like Jimmy Neutron. They hired the bandit Nemesis and told him to kidnap Sothis and bring her back to them. He did that and they killed her, creating the sword of the crater out of her bones, the crest stone and flame from her heart, and made Nemesis drink her blood. With the newfound power, he went to Xanadu and killed all the Nabateans. There was only one survivor, that being Seros. She wanted revenge. She gathered the remaining Nabateans, gets one of Nemesis' men to betray him, and made him emperor of the newfound Dresdian Empire. She waged war against Nemesis and his 10 elites and bodied him like we saw in the beginning. After that, the crest system became thing, and the people of Finland start creating nations and faction. Holy shit! The lore in this game is so goddamn cool. Like, it's a huge step up from Fate's non-existent world building. Go watch this video if you want a better explanation and not my stock photo rendition. Nemesis is back and you gotta send him back to the grave. Okay, this is the best final level in the game. You fight the 10 elites and Nemesis, who alone is hard as fuck. You gotta walk through a poison swamp while trying to take out the elite so the poison swamp can vanish and Nemesis can be weakened. All while God Shattering Star is playing. You beat Nemesis and you get to watch a cool cutscene of where Baelith and Claude double team Nemesis.
Tough talk from the guy who's lived too long. Allow me to fix that!
You are all pathetic weaklings. You lack the courage to challenge me in lone combat.
Yet we have the strength to scale the walls between us. To reach out our hands in friendship so we can open our true hearts to one another. That's how we win! Future historians will refer to this day as the new dawn of Fodlan. Of that, I have no doubt. It's up to you now, Teach. As for my path...
Claude makes good things happen, and that's Verdent Wind for you. Honestly, I don't like this route. I feel like a lot of nothing happened and threw away the concept of the three nation out the window. Instead, they give you a villain who doesn't have any connection to Claude. Learning the lore about the world was pretty cool, but not worth sitting through a 20-hour route for a 10-minute expedition. I love Claude, and his views on religion can be very eye-opening. He's perfect, and honestly, he's too perfect. Everything goes his way and he's always chill. The game makes it like he's scheming something, but he doesn't actually do anything with his plans. So that's the meme team for ya. I'm gonna go eat some venison now. This route is straight doo-doo. Did I say Verdent Wind is my least favorite? This route should not exist. In the Black Eagle route, Edelgard announced that she is the Flame Emperor. If this was your first playthrough, you'll be like, what the fuck? You defeat Edelgard and Rhea orders you to kill her. And now you have the option to either side with her or Rhea. If you aren't a cougar hunter, you'll choose to go with Edelgard. But sadly, we have to talk about the church route. You go against Edelgard and she's upset. She wages war against the nation, time skip happen, Edelgard's waiting for you because she remembers a silly promise, then this cool cutscene plays.
Even though our swords may cross as they do now.
There's
There's no denying that our chosen paths never will. Goodbye, my teacher. When next we meet, one of us will breathe their last.
Since you don't have a main character in this route, they just use Sedith to speak for you. Oh, and for some reason, your old students are more loyal to you than their country. Listen, I don't really like this route because it's the exact same as Verdent Wind, but with a different final boss. The levels are copy and paste, the story beats still suck, and they just have less. Claude and Dimitri died at Gronder Field. Like, you even see the ghost of Dimitri. Like, what the fuck is this? Who do I gotta call? The cutscene where you kill Edelgard makes a lot more sense in this route, but honestly, why have it at all? Like, this game would have been fine or even better if they removed this route and focused on Crimson Flower. Same shit happens, Shambhala and Rhea get hit by Nuke. Rhea tells you that you are the child of the progenitor god and Gerald drank Rhea's blood. Basically, Rhea is your old ass grandma, Sedith is that uncle you can fuck, and Flame is that niece your uncle have dirty thoughts about. For some reason in this route, the missiles affected her, she loses control and turns into the Immaculate One. Seriously? This boss is hard as fuck on Madden. So goddamn hard, I actually hit the 99 turn limit trying to kill her. You defeat her and she goes back to normal. That's about it. You can now go bang your relatives. You can even bang yourself. This route is a waste of time. It's only good for Violet's solo runs. The unfinished route. Instead of siding with Rhea, you go against her. Rhea is furious. She turns into a PNG dragons and drive you all away. Now it's your turn to attack the monastery. You get to Rhea, she turns into a PNG dragon again and buries you into a time skip. Seriously, they made the time skip even more unjustified. This route barely had any budget. Like, there's no CG cutscenes in this route, and there's only 18 chapters instead of 22. So you better plan your characters' classes ahead because there won't be any room for mistakes. You reunite with Edelgard again, but this time no reunion cutscene. She fills you in on what's been going on. The reason why Edelgard is against the church and the world is because she wants to change it. She wants the world to get rid of the crest system because of how unfair and painful it is. If you don't have a crest, you're nothing. If you do have a crest, you're worship. Even though there will be some people who will dislike you, even go as far as to kill you. Crests are so valuable and powerful. Those who slid in the dark, there's blood experiments to find people who can hold multiple crests. Many people died in those experiments. The only ones who survived were Edelgard and Lysithea. They hold 2 crests, but the price is that their lifespan is significantly reduced. Now Edelgard is going to be the villain and fight the world so no one can experience the pain she went through. She'll even go as low as teaming up with those who slid in the dark so they can take down Rhea. Now it's time to take down Claude because he's in the way. You fight them in his army to take their irrelevant ass into the Shadow Realm. You get the option to kill or spare Claude, but there's no real repercussion if you choose either option, which is pretty dumb. It would be cool if you spare him, you get a powerful weapon or something like that, but he'll come back later to bite you in the ass. If you kill him, the Lesser Alliance will have no choice but to join the Empire in the fight, but I'm asking for too much at this point. So I kill Claude for fun. My favorite part about this route is that how much you are hated. I mean, the church wants you dead. Like, look how angry Rhea is. She's so pissed she changed back into her Ceros outfit and team up with Dimitri so she can rip the crest stone from your heart so she can take her mother back. Chapter 17 was so goddamn cool. It was stupid hard in the funnest way. I was sweating my balls off because of how hard it was to kill Dimitri and Rhea. Like, if my Lysithea didn't get lucky finishing off Rhea, I would have restarted the last 2 hours. If you started with the Blue Lions first and saw the cutscene with Edelgard and Dimitri, it would piss you off.
Edelgard, I will kill you. You will know the regret of my father, who was killed for you. Of my stepmother, who was slain by your own daughter. You will bow your head before all of the lives you trampled for your ideals. Before you die in misery!
Your obsession with me is appalling. If you were a normal human, you would most certainly have died already. Farewell, King of Delusion. If only we were born in a time of peace, you might have lived a joyful life as a benevolent ruler.
fires of eternity with you, El.
She just kills him with no remorse without ever understanding why he hates her. So if you want to avoid this abhorrent cutscene, you gotta kill the dude before he transforms into a monster. If you did that, Dimitri and the dude will share their final gay moments with each other. I have a hard time still liking Edelgard after this. Now that I think about it, no one really challenges her ideals. No wonder everyone who played this route is so brainwashed into thinking she's the good guy. For the final chapter, you fight Rhea in a burning city, which is pretty damn cool. Baelith and Edelgard double team Rhea and force Grandma into retirement.
When humanity stands strong and people reach out for each other, there's no need for gods. Rhea, your reign of tyranny is over. The time has come. I'm ending this once and for all! Is it over?
You suddenly die because you just killed the person who's able to give you a beating heart, but the crystal in your heart fuses with you and is able to make your heart beat on its own, all while Edelgard is giving you a comforting hug. This route was powerful but underwhelming at the same time. It had memorable moments, which is why I'm able to explain this game to you despite the fact that I played it a few years ago. The lack of cutscenes, content, and unresolved plot points made it felt underwhelming. Like, did Edelgard just let those who slither in the dark go? All that made this route feel unfinished. I like Edelgard because she's a very unique lord in this series, but she is never in the wrong when clearly she's the one who put the game into motion. Now if you excuse me, I'm gonna go find some reason on why Edelgard and Daenerys from Game of Thrones have nothing in common. I'm serious when I say this, get a snack ready, because this is the best route in the game. When the others find out that the Flame Emperor is Edelgard, they're like, oh, wow, I guess we have to kill you now. When Dimitri finds out that she's the Flame Emperor, this happened.
Is this some kind of twisted joke? I've been looking for you. I will take that head from your shoulders and hang it from the gates of Endor!
Let me give some backstory. When Dimitri was young, he, his father King Lambert, and some knights were traveling to Duscur. Out of nowhere, the kingdom army was attacked and massacred. Everyone died except for Dimitri. He is the sole survivor of the tragedy of Duscur. Dimitri is hella traumatized and will go psycho to get his revenge. Felix lost his brother and had to go tsundere to close himself off to people. Ingrid lost her fiance and now she's upset. Now that I really think about it, everyone in the Blue Lions has a heart. Like, harder than everyone else in the game, except for Lysithea. When Dimitri saw Edelgard being evil, he assumes that she was responsible for the tragedy of Duscur. I don't know why he thinks a 13-year-old child orchestrated a massacre, but I think it's the fact that she's working with those who slither in the dark, who is not really relevant in this route. Dimitri just put some pieces together and it set him off. Monastery time skip, wake up, then you are introduced to this.
I should have known that one day you would be haunting me as well. You. What must I do to be rid of you? I will kill that woman, I swear it! Do not look upon me with scorn in your eyes. You... It can't be. You're alive? If that is the case, that can only mean you are another Imperial spy. Did you come here to kill me? Answer the question.
This shit is just heartbreaking. You see a man who just wants to be everyone's friend to this broken monster. Dimitri's main objective is to kill Edelgard and lay the souls of those who die in the tragedy of Dusker to rest. In the meantime, he's unwilling to go to class and do supports. But don't worry, as long as you didn't meme his ass, he'll still do really well in battle. One of Edelgard's general, Randolph, attacked the monastery and of course you stop him, but Dimitri just wants to torture the guy. I want to ease the tension a little, so I'm going to use an analogy. Dimitri just took the man's McDonald's lunch and tell him that just because I eat at Wendy's doesn't make you any different than me. We both eat shit. Therefore, we are shit. Now I will cut off your tongue as I eat your fries one by one. Byleth can't stand it anymore, so she walks up to Randolph to open his head to get to the ketchup. Dialogue happens. I swear this game is one of the many examples of why I hate self-inserts and false choices in games. Rodrigue, Felix's dad, needs reinforcements so they can take back the capital Ferdia from this Xenoblade character. But Edelgard's at Ambar. Killing her will end the war and you can save Rhea, but the game is like, we don't have it in our budget, so let's go take back the kingdom. You work your way to the capital, fight some battles, dialogue, and you eventually make your way to Gronder Fields for the three-way battle. Side note, make sure you do the dude's paralogue before the time skip or else you will permanently lose him. Honestly, I don't know why Claude is at Gronder Field. The Lesser Alliance barely has anything to do with the war. I mean, sure, if Edelgard's win, she would basically rule the world. But if anything, Claude and Edelgard kinda have the same ideals. They want a world without gods and for the people to be equal. They honestly benefit from joining forces, and I'm clearly not foreshadowing anything. You win the battle and you're introduced to the most stupidest and forced plot progression in the game. Fleesh wants to avenge her brother Randolph, so she joins the army to get closer to Dimitri to kill him. She comes out of nowhere and stabs Dimitri. Before she lands the killing blow, Rodrigue jumps in the way and takes the blow for him while Bailiff kills Fleesh. Dimitri is clearly distressed that Rodrigue is going to die knowing that he ate the last Big Mac. Okay, listen, the reason I'm using fast food analogy is because this is so fucking stupid. Like, how did she get so close to him and stab him? Why did Dimitri just stood there and took it? Did Rodrigue really need to jump in the way? Why didn't Byleth use Divine Pulse? Do Rodrigue actually love Dimitri more than he do his own son? We won't know because Byleth is a self-insert. This is just an excuse to force Dimitri redemption arc. Whatever, man, at least the redemption arc itself is good. Dimitri is depressed, so Byleth has to reach out her hand and pull him out of the darkness. Dimitri apologizes to everyone for his destructive behavior. To show that he really means it, he gets rid of the bags under his eyes to show that he's not a sad boy anymore. Everyone stands behind him. Their next goal is to take back the kingdom and kill this Xenoblade character. You kill the Xenoblade character and she reveals that Dimitri's stepmother was behind the tragedy of Dusker. She was with them on that day, but her body could not be found. Listen, I really tried to look this up and try to comprehend what happened, but I really don't understand this revelation after all these years. I'll put it as simple as this. Patricia went into hiding and married King Lambert. She had a daughter, Edelgard, who she couldn't interact with because she never gets to see her, so she raised Dimitri as her own. I almost forgot to mention that Edelgard and Dimitri are step-siblings. Patricia made a deal with those who slither in the dark so she could see her daughter again. She orchestrated the massacre in Dusker and fled to be never seen again. I genuinely don't understand all of this, and this is just my interpretation. Just watch someone correct me and call me incompetent for something they never clearly explained in the game. Dimitri becomes king again in a heart-pulling scene. Props to Chris Hackney for doing their fantastic job. Now the last thing to do is to commit suicide. Now to Embar! On the way, you help Claude and kill Edelgard's creepy uncle. Claude is like, thanks, here's a bow no one can use. Okay, goodbye Claude. Even though this war affects you too, you made it to the impenetrable fortress and killed the Death Knight. Okay, you can get an extra scene in this chapter with Mercedes and the Death Knight, but in order to get that you have to do her paralogue, but you also need useless ass Caspar if you want to do it. By the way, she does not have any supports with them. It's so fucking stupid how missable this can be. It's like you and your sibling are having a fight and some random ass trash bag from high school comes out of nowhere and says, "This affects me too," as they snort 8 grams of cocaine. As Dimitri is basically self-monologuing to Byleth, he realized that he doesn't want to kill Edelgard anymore. Instead, he wants to make peace with her. He requests Edelgard to meet up with him and they both negotiate. Edelgard explains that the world is full of weak people and she wants people to throw away their faith so humans can rise. But Dimitri knows that's wrong because people need each other and something to believe in so people can prevail just like he did. Although they understand each other, their views are entirely different. Before she leaves, Dimitri gives her the dagger he gave to her when they were kids, telling her to carve her own path. With that, Edelgard says goodbye to her long lost and forgotten friend, showing that they both still care and respect each other. After that, you invade Embar and kill the villain of the week. Now, it's time for the final battle. So, for the final boss, Edelgard transforms into this abomination. Be careful because she has global range, so just get your healers ready because you're either going to be tanking or invading like crazy. If not one of those options, it's a game over. She's surprisingly not hard to take down, so spam atrocity on her. She transformed back into a human and the final scene plays. When Edelgard threw the dagger into him, people speculate that she did that to tell him to carve his own way because it's the end for her. I don't know if people are overanalyzing so they can sound like a sophisticated intellectual asshole, but I'ma chop it down to her final desperate attempt. Fuck friendship endings. That was Azure Moon, and I have to say this route made this the best Fire Emblem game. Story-wise. I mean, yeah, those who are slither in the dark are just not present in this route, and I'm still lost on the whole Patricia thing. Fire Emblem never been about the overall narrative, it's about how the characters affect the narrative. Instead of trying to save the world from a villain who can't keep their hand away from their crotch, you help someone redeem themselves and become a better person out of it. So yeah, that's Fire Emblem Three Houses. It's an ambitious mess. Reusing shitty map designs, repetitive ass monastery life. Most of the supports begin the same. I mean, how many fucking times do I have to see Bernadette have an anxiety attack over and over again? An unbalanced class system, and an overall narrative that doesn't really complement itself. You really just get tired of looking at the game. It doesn't help that the visuals get duller as the years go by. I mean, look at how inconsistent the art style is. Talk about out of place. With all that said, I love this game. Most characters are fleshed out and the world of Finland is just so interesting with this lore and world building. The gameplay is really fun and challenging. The memories I have with this game are pretty sweet. And I'm a bitter ass person. Not really, I'm a pretty chill guy. Will I ever play this game again? Fuck no. You'll look at the length of this video and ask, if you're done talking about this game, why is there still more? Because we still have 3 hope. Fire Emblem Three Hopes is a Warriors spin-off of Three Houses. It makes sense as a Warriors game. The Dynasty Warriors games is based off a historical period in China where the kingdom, Wei, Shu, and Wu fought against each other. I don't know much about the historical accuracy since I don't read books because I always manage to spill water on the pages, and I'm also not a history teacher. But what I do know is that Three Houses is based off the story. Because you know, 3 kingdoms, 3 houses. I want to get this out there. I hate this game, mainly because I hate Musou style games. I get the appeal of playing your favorite character and hacking down waves of enemies, even I have fun with that for a while, but it loses its novelty very quickly. I have over 80 hours into the game, but the gameplay expired 70 hours ago. I know every game is repetitive, but at least every other genre tries to mix things up. And also saying every game is repetitive is a shit counter argument. Let's take a look at Devil May Cry. Yes, it's a different style game and it's an unfair comparison, but in those games you are introduced to different type of enemies and that means you can't just mash. You actually have to think, while in these Musou games, rinse and repeat. There's still some strategy in this game, like using the appropriate weapon to make killing things quicker, but all you gotta do is mash, mash, and mash, and not get hit. That's it! All the characters played the damn same, with the exception of a few. And no, having a unique button isn't enough to make you different. I get that making 54 playable characters unique can be a bitch, but you won't keep my interest for long. Especially when I could have just been playing an infinitely better game like Xenoblade 3 instead. So am I just going to keep shitting on the game like how my parents shit on me for not becoming a doctor? Well, I think the story and the character is better than Three Houses. It takes place in an alternate timeline. Edelgard is still starting wars, Dimitri is still crazy but a lot more tame, and Claude actually schemes. I think some of the character designs are better in this game. There's characters that I actually grew to love and love even more. This game made me love Felix to death. Hilda is not lazy anymore, and Sylvain is not chasing anyone without a penis. Here's how I felt about the cast before, now here's how I feel about them now. I'm not going in depth with the story because it's mostly the same, but I will go into what I like about the story and how it affects his character. But first we gotta talk about our main protagonist, Shez. I won't get into his story, and yes, I prefer the guy because although I actually like him more than Three Houses Byleth, his story feels like a side thing rather than a main story thing. But I will get into the Shez and Arvel reveal later. The game starts with Shez and his mercenary group heading out to fight Gerald's mercenary group. They want to take down the Ashen Demon. Who's the Ashen Demon? It's Byleth. She wipes out your group, takes you down with no problem, and then mythical god power activates to save your ass. Byleth's role in this game is a lot better. She's the Lubu of this game, although she eventually becomes too easy. She's the driving force that keeps Shez fighting and getting stronger. The problem with Byleth in Three Houses is that she had no personality and everyone breastfed off of her. But when I heard her talk,
Hey, wait!
Why? We've achieved our goal. Your job was to stop us, and you failed. Another time, perhaps.
I ran to my mom and did a backflip. You are introduced to Arvel, who's a god that lives inside your head. He, she, it, they is your partner. And this is where I'm done talking about Shez and Arvel. Like I said earlier, they're a side thing. You help the three lords from a group of bandits and then you are taken to the monastery. Choose your damn house and start the game. You do battles and experience the root's unique storylines, like how Edelgard said, "Yo, fuck those who slither in the dark. We are cutting ties and taking them down." Dimitri is like, "My uncle is a dick and I want to be king. Let's go kill him." Claude is like, "My brother is a narcissistic dick who doesn't even know I exist. Now look at my pretty face." Now we enter the 2-year time skip. I'm not going over the story like I did for Three Houses because it's the same premise. And I also stopped paying attention because I'm tired of looking at recycled animations that are clearly outdated. Edelgard starts the war and wants to get rid of the crest system. Dimitri wants to find out the truth behind the tragedy of Duscur. Claude fucks all and be all. So instead I'm going to talk about what I like from each route. In Golden Wildfire, Claude goes through things like he's actually a flawed character. He kills his asshole brother and while everyone is celebrating, you get to see that shit weighing down on him. He becomes king of Elmira and the full-fledged leader of the Leicester Alliance that is now called the Leicester Federation. Remember when Claude had no real purpose in Three Houses? The writers sat down and said, "Let's make Claude team up with Edelgard so they can both take down Rhea." Yeah, I did not see that coming at all. And what is the first thing Claude does with the new pack? He uses Randolph as a meat shield so we can capture the enemy strongholds as he fights Catherine. The characters start questioning him. Even I was like, what the fuck, Claude? You even see Claude doubting his own capabilities as king. This is the shit I wanted to see from him in Three Houses. Also, Hilda just becomes a way better character in this game. Like Three Houses did not properly portray her as Claude's retainer. Azure Gleam makes more sense in terms of reasoning. Like, Dimitri found out it was those who slither in the dark was behind the tragedy of Duscur and not a 13-year-old girl. You get to see Dimitri in the new light. He's more tame but still has the PTSD. I swear to Rhea's sweet ass, Felix stole Azure Gleam. He's still a tsundere, but he's more chill. Shows leadership and actually shows that he cares about Dimitri. What I love about this game that Three Houses didn't do is have more exclusive units. Like, it does not make sense for most characters to betray their country because you are a good teacher. What I hate about this route is that they show off Hemajan Edelgard, but you don't get to fight her. Oh, if you're an Edelgard fan, this route is very painful to watch. Talus uses his dark magic on her and gives her the mind of an infant, and she's used as a puppet for the rest of the route. Even Dimitri knows he can't sleep if he kills her. Scarlet Blaze is the best route in my opinion. Edelgard is less evil, I guess. Hubert's more comical, Ferdinand actually gets a character arc, and Monica is a character that you're happy never gets to be a thing in Three Houses. There's something unique about this route. The story actually changes if you recruit Baelith or not. In the other routes, nothing changes. So I just killed her. Better give some context real quick. Orville wants Baelith dead because Orville is Epimenides, who's an Agarthan god, and he wants to get rid of Sothis. He takes control over Shez's body and attacks Baelith. You gotta stop him and you meet up with the other lords. You are taken to another dimension, you are make a truce until you find a way out. This is a really cool bonus chapter because you get to see support conversations between the three lords. You beat the god and you all go on your merry way. All four factions, the Empire, Alliance, Kingdom, and Church are getting ready for a grand battle. If you recruit Baelith, the Alliance will fight with you, but if you don't, Claude will betray you because Edelgard is an evil bitch. In Three Houses, Edelgard didn't have a Gronder field, so they made this her Gronder field. This game made me love Edelgard to death, like how the first Fire Emblem Warrior game made me love Korn. So that was Fire Emblem Three Houses and I guess Three Hopes. I really could not stand Hopes and I would have talked more in depth about the gameplay for both Three Houses and Hopes, but I underestimate how long this video would be, and it's already been talked about to death. There's really nothing more to add but my own inputs. I'm not going to lie, this is my favorite Fire Emblem cast and I'm going to miss them. But with life and shit, you gotta move on. But at least I get to keep the memories. Sadly, I also kept the memories of the time I shut my pants in from the toilet. Till next time. These are my headcanon parents, Edelgard and Hubert, Ferdinand and Dorothea, Bernadetta and Yuri, Felix and Annette, Sylvain and Ingrid, Claude and Hilda, Raphael and Ignatz, I don't give a shit about them, and my favorite Fire Emblem parent, Dimitri and Marianne. You got a problem? Go get a job, you damn neat.